I'm going to show you how to make a giant turkey pot pie and make the dough for it with a little bit of twist. We're going to put some herbs in it.
Now, I like to chop up a little bit of fresh thyme for my turkey pot pie, but you can use sage, basil, chives. Just chop them small enough so it mixes well with the flour. And here's a great technique. Use a whisk, use a mixing bowl, stir, toss, stir, toss, stir, toss until it's well mixed.
Now to the food processor, and I'll show you how to make the dough.
And here's the thing, you just dump your seasoned flour in, and important that you use ice cold butter. And now you're just going to do the initial pulse for like about 1.5 seconds, and then you're going to do like 5 or 6 more pulses until it's like coarse cornmeal, just like that. Perfect. And then you're going to add the water, and it's got to be really cold ice water, and it's about 1/2 cup. And again, you pulse, you pulse, you pulse, and then 2 long pulses at the end, so it just pulls it together as a loose dough. Perfect consistency right here. Now that is perfect pie dough. And now I'm going to show you a French method called frisage, where you use your palm to squish the dough across the surface of the chop block to make the dough really flaky.
We're going to make this turkey pot pie, but first we have to make the bottom dough. I've got some room temperature soft butter because I'm going to butter this awesome huge pie dish. I have this foil form that I made basically by fitting it into the dish. And this is important because once I put the pie dough in here, I'm going to fill it with this leftover rice from all the other pie baking that I do, and that's going to hold the sides and the bottom in place while the pie dough bakes and gets firm. And we do that because when we put this moist turkey pot pie filling in here, the pot pie will bake and the bottom won't get soggy. It'll be nice and crisp.
So I just use a standard pastry brush and just brush the living daylights out of this frickin' pan. Edges, sides, everything. You just don't want the dough to stick. Now before rolling it out, I like to use my knuckles and just kind of press it and get it as thin as I can. And then a little bit of flour on top. And then I just kind of put a little flour on my rolling pin. And then I just keep rolling it out, working it, rolling it out. About midway through, I'm noticing that it's a little lopsided and over to one edge, so I just use a sharp kitchen knife to kind of free underneath. It just kind of glides under there just to make sure it doesn't stick, and then I'm just going to move it over a couple of inches and I keep rolling it out. Now, I put the dish on top to make sure it's big enough. I think I need a couple more inches, but I also notice around the edges I've got some spots that are missing, so I bring a little bit of water over, and I'm going to show you how you kind of like glue and patch here. Just cut a piece of excess dough off, and water makes for excellent glue. I just rub it on the dough and take my patch piece, put it over the top, and just use my fingers to press it in. It's really, kind of that simple. Just repeat. Go around until you make sure you have a relatively round piece of pie dough. Fold it in half, roll it up on the rolling pin, and then you just get it in the dish and you do this dance and you maneuver it around until you really get it to fit inside the dish. And as always, you find a couple of spots that need to be patched. So again, use the water, dot it on there. Take a couple of these, what I call Klingons. I'm a Trekkie. And you just patch the dough back up. And then you get yourself a trusty pair of scissors, and then you trim the dough. Make sure it's even and save the schnibbles. And I got my trusty piece of aluminum foil. I'm just going to pop it inside, make sure there aren't any air bubbles. And then I'm going to grab my reusable rice and just kind of pour it in here, making sure that everything is high on the sides, so when I bake it for about 25 minutes in a 350-degree oven, the sides don't come away. And there you have it. Look at that. Now watch this as I pull it out. Just got to be careful. Peel it back from the sides. It's not going to stick because there's so much butter in this pie dough. And you just pull it out. Now I'm going to pop this back in the oven for about another 15 minutes to dry it out. And there you have it. Ta-da!
when my mom made turkey pot pie, chicken pot pie, beef pot pie, she always used leftovers, leftover pot roast, obviously leftover turkey, but leftover veg, like these leftover roasted potatoes. I'm gonna put those, I have some turkey gravy right here. Remember these from my winter garden video, garden carrots. These are roasted and beautifully sweet. I'm gonna pop those in. And then remember this from my video, the Berkshire Direct honey nut squash. I'm gonna put some of this in, but not all of it.
And why aren't you putting all of that?
Because I think I have too much vegetables for the amount of turkey that I have. Actually, you know what? What the heck? Let's just go with all of it. And now, most importantly, look at that turkey leftover pulled from the carcass. Now we're just going to heat this up for about, 10 minutes. Let it get warm. And this helps us accelerate the cooking of the turkey pot pie. So we got the top rolled out. Now that's raw, and remember, we cooked this earlier, so the way we're gonna glue them together is use a little bit of egg wash. Egg wash is like such an awesome glue. That's gonna help the raw pastry stick to this cooked pastry and enclose the pot pie so that it holds in all that flavor and absolute deliciousness. So there we're egg washed. Now we're going to just freeze this up here.
Again, using just a sharp knife to glide underneath.
Put it on the rolling pin. Oh, wait a second. I got to put the stuff in it.
Do you think it's because you have an open bottle of Prosecco behind you?
I think it's because I have Prosecco in me. Oh, goodness. Look what happened here. Oh, that's a big one. That's okay. Oh, you're filming? We'll get it to stick on. Yeah, we do. Take off.
Son number 2. Or number 4th child.
Oh, here we go. I have a little bit of pastry here that I can glue back on.
Nice little hack you have here.
Yeah. So, this is a little bit of pastry schnibble that I had left over from earlier. I use this to patch. And remember, just because this is baked doesn't mean this is going to be underbaked. It's going to bake at the same time. It only takes pie dough about 25 to 35 minutes to cook. This is going to be in the oven a good 45 minutes. So. Now, here's that pot pie mix with the giant chunks of turkey, butternut squash, my winter garden carrots. It's warm, nice and warm. You can see that. This is going to accelerate the cooking time so that we don't have to wait, an hour and a half to 2 hours for this to cook from cold in the oven. And I've done this a few times, so I have just the right size pot, as you can see. Now, very, very important that we put a vent in the middle of this pot pie so that the steam can get out. And now we're just going to take some of this egg wash. And I'm just going to take this to a preheated 375-degree oven. And I'm going to go on the bottom rack. And the reason why I'm going on the bottom rack is that's wet pot pie in there. I want the bottom to brown. I I want the top to be crisp. 30 to 40 minutes, it's going to be delicious. And here we are. 45 minutes. Now we're going to let it set a half hour. Can't set it here because my son's making his famous ravioli.
How much does that weigh?
15 pounds, I don't know.
Holy smacks.
Anyway, lots going on in the Nischan household.
Fast forward to dinner, and here is giant turkey pot pie done well.